Hey, it's Dandan here at DG Recruit. Today I'm going to share with you a few tips when it comes to email, verbal, not so much verbal, but more so like written communication. So when you're trying to prospect clients and candidates, obviously you're going to be writing a lot of messages. That could be using LinkedIn, email. It could be using prospecting. Back in the old firm I worked with, we called these things send outs, where you're sending out your most placeable candidate and you're writing this whole email, or you're sending a quick note on LinkedIn. So here are just some tips to get people to connect with you better and be a better communicator via the written form. The first thing to do is never apologize. So this is the most awkward thing I see when people try to prospect me. They're always like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry to do this. And it's like, that is not a great opener, right? If your first line is, oh, whoopsies, I'm so sorry, I'm disturbing you. That is not a good look. Like nobody wants to hear that. That's not sexy. Like nobody wants that. So it's not making you look conscientious and respectful of other people's time, because we all know what you're here for. You're trying to sell us something. So get to the point. So that's a first and foremost thing I would mention in terms of worst things to do on a email or written contact. Number 2, misleading messaging. Like straight up misleading titles, misleading messages. Oh, I have something secret to talk to you about. Oh, this is so like, oh wow, like this is an inquiry that I'm responding to you about, responding to your inquiry. And you're trying to like gaslight me into thinking I want to talk to you. Again, is that the right methodology to build a relationship with somebody? Probably not. Now, obviously, as headhunters, there's a certain part of us that certainly those of us on executive search and us trying to get after those really amazing talent, you do want to write something that's a little bit like tasty, a little bit like, enticing. But you can also just say, hey, look, I think you're amazing. I've heard a lot of great things about you. I've had some friends say good things about you. Would love to connect. That's totally fine. There's nothing shady or weird about that. It is weird if you're like just responding to your inquiry. I didn't message you. What are you writing to me about? Right? So this is classic, like people trying to pull the wool over your eyes. They're just trying to win in the short term. Right? These 2 examples I gave are just trying to win you in the short term. It is not looking at long-term or mid-term relationships. It's straight up trying to bamboozle you into a response. Again, recruitment is not for idiots, especially the best candidates are not stupid, right? They're not going to just respond to you and be like, oh, what did you write to me about? Oh, wow, I totally forgot you didn't write to me. We all know what the deal is, and it's annoying. So number 2, don't do that. Number 3 is like just writing way too much stuff. That's the biggest mistake, because it's so obvious you just copy and pasted that crap and sent it to a bunch of us. Like, I just see this. It's so common. Why would I respond to this? Right? It's so generic, and it's just got so much stuff. Right? So especially if you're a job seeker and you go off pounding off emails to everybody like, hey, I got this degree and I got that degree and I worked at these companies and I want to see if your company's hiring. When you send that out, everyone's just like, this dude or this lady is just sending it all over the place. We're not special. They don't care about us. They're just writing us this big old blurb. So instead of doing the big old blurb, make it count. Less is more. Right? Put on less things and just say, hey, just again, keep it super clear. Hey, I'm really interested in your company. I really liked your recent Inc. article that talked about your business growth. It's so exciting to see that you're seeing success despite the pandemic. I would love to network and have a quick chat when works best. That's actually better than if, again, you write off some random drivel. Right? That leads me to my next point. When you write generic messages like, I see we have a lot of mutual contacts in common. Figured it'd be good to connect. Good for you. Like, does that make me want to connect with you? Absolutely not. Like, if I had $1 for all the people who send me messages like, hey, we have mutual contacts. I'd like to also be one of your contacts. That is not a sell. Like, that is not why I would want to connect with you, right? Or it's like, hey, I see that we're both, so a lot of people just trying to create some commonality where they're like, I see we're both females. Let's talk. I see we're both Asian. Let's talk. That doesn't work either, right? It's just got to be more than that, because that's the bare minimum of why would we talk because of that, right? That's also really weird, right? And if worst case, it could come off really strange and calculating and a little bit manipulative and kind of guilt trippy. I don't know. It's weird, right? Like, again, just be real careful why you're doing that. Is that appropriate? Is that fair? Is that something they would enjoy, right? Don't always think about you and what you're trying to achieve and like A to B, causation and effect, like super simple. Life is not that simple, right? There's a lot more complications. People have feelings. So you can't just write them stuff and just like wing it and like, oh, hopefully they like this message. No, because it's your neck on the line. It's your reputation. When you put that stuff out to the internet, someone could take a screenshot of that and be like, look at this person. How ridiculous is this? Do you want to be that person? Right? So double check and just think on their shoes. Think in their shoes. How would the person trying to prospect feel if this is what I wrote? Right? How would they feel if this is what I sent? Especially when it relates to clients. Like, what do you think clients want to see? They want to see stuff that's relevant. They want to see stuff that is very much to the point and is catching their eye and also written in a really fast-paced way where there's a lot of information conveyed in a very short amount of time. Lastly, do not ask for something before providing value. This is another really annoying thing that people do. Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you just like make time to talk to me? Hey, can you just do this? Can you like do that for me? Like blah, 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 me. Who do you think wants to respond to you if that's all you're writing, right? If you're writing a message where it's just like, hey, I would do this. I would, me, right? I got a lot of jobs. I want you to talk to me. I got this role. You should talk to me. Me. What about them? Right? What about them? How should they feel? Right? So instead, I always like to keep things super simple. I just want to have a conversation, right? Especially if it's LinkedIn. I'm not trying to tell you my whole life story on a, blurb. I'm not trying to tell you my whole life story. I'm just trying to say, hey, look, I definitely want to connect. I definitely want to network. Like, wins best. Now, the smart person reaction to that will just click on my profile and be like, who is this person? Why are they sending me this message? Let me check. They'll see my profile and then they'll make a determination. Is this somebody that I should get back to? Is this person relevant to me? Right? So LinkedIn marketing is 100% reliant upon all of the different pieces of who you are as a professional in terms of just the marketing aspect, but how you use the platform and what you say on the platform also changes the response rates. And that also works for email too. Email, you can get away with slightly longer messages, but again, you want to be careful to customize it as much as possible because the more generic something sounds and the more someone thinks, wow, this was just an automated message or robotic or AI enabled, and the minute people feel that, they will be very unlikely to respond to you. And the people who do respond to you are either missing a screw or not that bright or also just kind of desperate. So you want to be really careful like who you're trying to attract. The smartest people will have their guard up. They will be looking for, okay, is this a robot? Because I will not respond to robots. Right? So make sure that you're passing the test when you're being the prospector and that you're writing the right messages when it's hitting the market.